Welcome to Big Sky Voices. My name is Ben Booth.
And I'm Victor Wamed with Storyteller Films. Our guest today is Tobi Ives. Tobi is now a consultant. Formerly, she was spent, 10 years with the New Mexico Film Office. She's worked for the IATSE, what number is the union, 480?
Local 480 here in New
Local
Mexico.
480, and today she's going to tell us what her new project is now.
And Tobi, it seems like you and I have a lot of mutual friends. You and Victor and I. Let's see, Nanny Rivera. Let's see, I was listening to a radio program that you guys did. Let's see, of course, Daniel Williams. We all love, everybody loves Daniel Williams. Well, 6 of the people that you got listed have done this program with us.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I noticed Dirk Norris had done it from the New Mexico Film
Yes,
Foundation.
yeah.
So.
Yeah, and he had a really good response. You know, Dirk is a fluent fellow.
He is a good
Great.
marketer.
So we've missed each other. I'm so delighted to have you
Well,
at
thank you for having
this
me.
desk. Tell me, and Victor, what are you doing that's really important to you, that you think is significant right now?
Well, I'm involved right now with Studio Institute Global, and it's actually, they have Studio Institute School out in LA, and that school came about in about 2013, I believe.
Yeah.
And just a really great group of people. I was connected to them through the IATSE Local 480 because I do a lot of training.
Just to be clear, IATSE is the union of what?
So that's mostly, in this state, it's what they call the below-the-line crafts. It's a studio mechanic, so you're talking about
Electricians,
grip, light, sound, hair, makeup, wardrobe.
Okay,
Even they do accounting and locations here. So all your technical crafts that work to create the project.
Okay.
I got an email from India the other day, and a young man said, "Can I come to America and be your gaffer?" What's a gaffer?
Gaffer is your head of your lighting department. It's your chief lighting technician is another term for that.
I see.
Gaffer's actually it's a funny term. It actually comes from theater, and on the East Coast they used to actually go down to the dock and get gaffs
What's
from
a
the
gaff?
fishermen, which is what they get the fish with.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
And that was to grab the curtains and pull it down.
I see.
Okay.
Well, we have a lot of
It's
gaffs
kind of
on this
interesting.
program, so we would qualify for this.
That's the hook that grabs you when you get pulled off stage.
Yeah. So I bet a grip is somebody that carries things around and sets things up.
He is the equipment master, he or
Yeah.
she, and basically they're the setting up, right?
Yeah.
So your grips will set up for the lighting technicians to do their job,
Yeah.
right? So they work directly with, grip, light, sound, director. They're doing that technical aspect of the shot.
Yeah.
So I guess the Studio Institute then is setting up courses for how to train people to become grips and gaffers and makeup, etc.
Yeah, well, there's a couple different things.
Okay.
Studio Institute School, they do a lot of above-the-line work. They actually have commercial choreography as one of their niches. So this is a little different, the below-the-line aspect, and it was really geared toward New Mexico. And so when they brought me in, I said, look, you don't want to duplicate what's already happening here. There's plenty of great school programs. The community college does some great things. So what we ended up developing was an intensive, a 5-week intensive that deals with what we call the last mile.
Okay.
So you have some experience, you maybe even have a trade that's a transitional skill to the industry, but this is really, let's find out who would hire you, what their expectations are of you, and get you some more hands-on experience so you can actually commit to the industry and transition in. So it's that kind of gap which I've seen throughout the years, being involved in a lot of different programs here and various reiterations of training, and just say let's get that last bit so people can really meet the practical or get involved in the practical aspects of a career as below the lines. And it's very specific to below the line. This is not about let's try to train above the line with below the line and get everyone involved. The paradigm is really about below the line training. If you walk onto a set in what we call the third level position, right? So you have your head of your department, many times you hear the term best boy. When you come in, if you're in a union covered position, you're in what they call the third level majority of the time. So what are you expected to do?
Right.
How do you support your key? New Mexico is really interesting. When I started here in the industry, I talked my way into managing the office at the IATSE Local 480. I had done some production office coordinator work in Las Vegas, Nevada, and so on.
Yeah.
Somehow I got back. Once you're in the industry, you're always in the industry.
It's kind of addictive, isn't it?
It's another land of entrapment. and so at any rate, I got back then. I didn't want to work on set, and so I started working at the office there at the 480. This was years ago. 200 members. So now there's 1,500 members.
Really?
Wow.
So it's kind of, when you think about production in New Mexico, you have to think about, there has to be consistent production to grow crew. And then to have consistent production, you have to have crew, right? So
Right.
there's that kind of circular catch-22. So in my world, they say, well, what does the crew look like in 5 years? And who's coming in and how are they supporting this? The
Yeah.
keys that exist, and what do the keys need? Because they're the ones that hire the entry level. You know, it's not the director or the producer. So that's where we were looking at. So I'm excited to work with this group. We've
Yeah.
created Studio Institute Southwest, which is the name of this intensive program. We want to involve people in the industry here, the crew here that want to train. So it's nice to be able to work with an outside entity that can really lend the educational infrastructure to match and work with and dovetail the realities of production, especially here in New Mexico.
And what a blessing to all these film producers that come to here to do their films. We've got this, what would you call it, a human infrastructure of educated people that know what to do. You know?
Well, you know, you think about it too. New Mexico has been in the incentive business now for 15 years. So there, you know, and what's great about New Mexico is that it's small enough to do new and innovative things, but it's established and large enough that you have a professional community.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something where you have that consistency, you have proximity to LA. You know, so it's just been it's a unique place to be able to be creative.
Yeah.
I read something, I think it was yesterday, saying New Mexico has like the third biggest conglomeration of below-the-line people, of crew and craft people, outside of Los Angeles and New York.
Well, you know, I have to say at one point that was true.
Okay.
I don't know if that's still true.
Okay.
You know, and it's interesting because a lot of our crew would go to Louisiana, Georgia, and then as things shift there,
Then do they come back?
I mean, they can. I mean, you know, when you're a grip here, you could be a grip anywhere, right, in the world, which is the nice thing about the mobility of this industry. When you're thinking about New Mexico and driving the production to stay and grow here, you know, we'd like our crew to stay, but you have to have consistent production. So you see the ebbs and flows. You know, Georgia and has, in my opinion, has really grown, and that we might be not as big as Georgia this time.
And I saw the Avengers last night. I noticed that they filmed a lot of the Avengers in Georgia. You know, what a lot of jobs in production that went to that state.
True.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we've had a lot of those types of films here too, and sometimes we get partial. You know, that's the other thing. You know, we can get half a film here, which is still a great economic benefit.
So the people that would come to your courses, are they already in the business, or would a newcomer who wants to get in the business?
You know, there's a lot of
Go
different
into this.
circumstances, but the ideal audience for this program would be those that have started the trek into continual employment in this business. So for instance, in the 480 union, they have something called an overflow list. So those are your non-member roster. So when you get in, when you've gone past your roster within the union, you have to go to the non-member roster, is what a lot of the crew, my understanding is, they go to this roster to say, hey, I can't fill this position, who do we have on this roster? So to me, the audience is, what's happening to those people on that list that want to commit to the industry in these specific positions? What are they missing, and would this program be beneficial? And it may work for some or all of them. And then, of course, there's people coming out of cosmetology school that want to do something different. An electrician, or maybe someone that went through a program and just said, now I have time to really commit to this and get some additional hands-on, and I need to meet people, I need to network. So it's a variety, but for me, ideally, I think it's those that have decided this is what they want to do, and now they need help doing it.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I know it's going to vary, but about the pay scale for these types of workers or types of jobs that are available? I know it's union pay scale, but how does all that work?
Well, it's going to, I'm not a union member, and I can't speak as a union representative, but I understand that, these are good paying jobs. I've seen a lot of contracts. They have a variety of contracts depending on the budget that the production has. And so if you get into a contracted production, you're going to get anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour as a third level, right? And that's for what they call straight hours. Most people know that people work at least 12 hours a day. So then you get a time and a half from what they call 8 to 12 hours. Union contracts are to give benefits, to help with turnaround time, to make sure you're fed, you know, so they're protecting your rights on set. Most productions want that too. So it's a good paying job, and the idea is that, you know, it's project to project. So you want to be paid well, and if you have downtime, then you can manage that and you go to your next project.
Well, that's a good wage for New Mexico, but
Great wage.
how many weeks or months out of the year could a crew member expect to work? I mean,
A lot of
because we know
people-
it's job to job.
Sure. I mean, a lot of people start in what they call day play. You know, all of a sudden you have 1,000 extras, and now you
Okay.
need 20 additional makeup assistants, right? And so you have to think of yourself and market yourself as an independent contractor,
Okay.
ultimately. And in New Mexico, we have the union here covers lots of different crafts, and
Yeah.
they don't, you know, it's a studio mechanic, so it's a different setup than some of the LA unions, right? Which are more niched, which go into seniority type of structure, is my understanding. But back to your question is, you know, there's union members that work nonstop, you know, production to production to production.
Really? Yeah.
There's people that day play. It depends on your craft. If you're on a construction crew, you might come in and help build, and you're off that show before that show's finished, and then maybe you go to your next show. So it varies, but it generally, productions on average last anywhere from 3 months. If it's television, it's 6 to 8 months. If you're on a television series, now you're working 6 to 8 months a year for every season that it's brought back. So it really varies, but
Right.
you know, if you're a grip on this show, you should be able to be a grip on this show. If you're a costumer on this show, you know, so you have that skill set to be involved in different types of shows and different lengths of shows, and you should be paid well for that. And it's hard work, it's laborious, and frankly, when going back to your question about who's the audience for this program, it's the people that understand the lifestyle and want that lifestyle. I used to, years ago, we put on these PA workshops with Alton Walpole. You have 100 people come in, totally new to the industry, and we're talking about what it is to be a PA, which is a production assistant, right? Maybe of those 100, by the end of our presentation, there's 10 people that are like,
Yeah.
oh, this is for me, right? And that's part of the reason I ended up working in the IA office, is because I didn't want to be on set. I wanted to walk my dog and get my mail and all those good things you get to do when you have normal hours, so to speak. But, you know, and then of those 10 people, maybe 5 people really pursued it. So it's a lifestyle, but you're paid well for that because it is long hours. And you are working 5, 6, even sometimes 7 hours a week, 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
So it's a career then. They can have a house and a car and a stable life. That's wonderful. What a great thing for the state, huh?
Yeah, and I can remember when there was nothing wrong with taking a few weeks off.
You know, and it ebbs and flows, and so you have to be prepared for that. And what we're trying to do here is set up that training to really get that platform for that last moment to get that
Tobi,
continual employment.
Why is this your passion now?
I like working with the crew, and I like the training aspect. I like helping people figure out what they're trying to get to, how they're trying to get to, what they need to do. I like to really sit down and say, you know, I used to be an art consultant.
Okay.
And I'm not good at selling, but I'm good at selling art, because most of the time I helped people figure out what it is they really wanted to buy. And so it's that kind of helping people figure themselves out.
Do you kind of, the energy of being on the set or being a part of it, is that a part of the appeal to it?
For these students, yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm scared of on-site.
Oh, come on.
So if someone was interested in this program, how would they get in touch with you or with the program?
So the Studio Institute Southwest, we're having a open house actually this Sunday, May 6th, on Fox Road. So I'm going to give you a phone number and a website.
Good.
The phone number is 1-800-985-9071.
Okay.
And the Studio Institute Global website is studioinstituteglobal.org. And then you can go to the Southwest Institute page from there.
Great.
But any information you need about the program, that's the great way to do it.
Well, listen, it's so great of you to come here. What an honor to be with you. And, you know, I could just imagine, you know, to me, thinking back 10 years with the film office, the stories you could tell. You could write a book. And you might not want to write that book. I don't know.
May not want to. But it's May 6th, and our new session starts mid-May.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I hope to get some people there.
Wow, wonderful. Well, listen, we will support it and encourage it. We'll put this online and get it out there for you.
Great,
And,
appreciate it.
whatnot. This is Big Sky Voices. I'm Ben Booth.
I'm Victor Wamet, and we want to thank our guest Tobi Ives
Thank
for an enlightening 15 minutes.
and thank you for your life and what you're doing with it.
Well, thank you.
Adios.